Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 6, episodes 11 and 12. I don't think enough happened in either episode by my standard that it warrants two different episodes, and I'm also a little late, so I'm just going to put them together. Right. So episode 11 starts out basically with Meredith and Lisa coming back from the church, and they're kind of talking about, you know, everything. And they're going to be meeting for lunch after the church service with all of the ladies. And when they get to that lunch, um, Mary says she invited everybody because it was an important day for her, but she didn't invite Brittany. And she's like, I didn't invite Brittany because Brittany says I'm the least godly person. I'm the most ungodliest person that she knows. So she's like, and even though she apologized, that wasn't enough for me. So she's not invited. And you know what, Mary? I know that, for the sake of the show, they always try to make sure everybody invites everyone. But I feel like that should only be for main cast. And if you're a friend of, you ain't gotta come. But yeah, so anyways, um, Heather says, and like, that's what it is. Mary's talking about how she brought everyone there to like apologize. And Heather is like, do you hear that, Lisa? And so obviously they start talking about the situation about Meredith yelling on the plane. And Meredith is like, oh, my reaction was, happened in the wrong place, but I don't think that I did anything wrong, basically. And Heather was like, no, like, girl, you were acting crazy, you were yelling and all the stuff. It was like way more than just a reaction in the wrong place. And so I'm getting the impression that Meredith just doesn't want to accept what she did. And I feel like since this show has started, Meredith has had a real problem with accountability. Like, we talk about accountability on a lot of these housewives shows, and there's always one or two castmates that don't want to accept any type of responsibility for anything at all. And Meredith is that person on Salt Lake City. Like, she can never be wrong. And when she does apologize, it's like roundabout. She's very, very, very careful with her words. And that might be the lawyer in her, but she don't just apologize. It's very strange. Um, Lisa is saying, like, oh, the girls are just exacerbating what happened. And, Mara's denying that it was bad. And everyone else is like, no, Meredith, you were acting like a crazy person. And I need to know what Meredith told Lisa to get her to fall in line so, like, girl, you aren't even budging on it. Like, you are not budging on it. Like, you and Meredith are maintaining to the group that it wasn't that bad and people didn't hear what they heard. And so I'm just kind of like, what could she have said to Lisa to get Lisa to kind of stick to her that strongly? And so when Mary's saying what happened, she's like, oh, I watched two movies and slept. And so I wasn't even going off for as long as you guys claimed that I was going off for. And so she said that she watched Crazy Rich Asians. And they're like, okay, what happened at the end of Crazy Rich Asians? Meredith could not tell him. Now, if you've seen the movie, it's pretty significant, right? Like, the culmination of the movie is at the end. So if you don't know what happened at the end of the movie, you didn't watch Crazy Rich Asians. So then they asked Lisa, and Lisa was able to answer a little bit. But I'm like, Meredith, why don't you just want to admit, like, oh, even if you don't say, oh, I did this or that, you could be like, maybe I got out of hand. I didn't realize how loud I was, or I didn't realize how loud I was talking. My ears were clogged. I don't, something, but to completely deny what everyone else heard was crazy because even Lisa, like Heather was like, she said this. And Lisa was like, yeah, she did say this. So even though Heather is defending Mare, she did concede some points. So it's like, I don't know why Meredith is completely against admitting to anything, you know? Um, The ladies say that Meredith probably just doesn't remember what happened because she was drinking, I guess, in the airport lounge before she got on the plane. And and she's like, no, I remember everything. And I'm not saying that there can't be a situation where everyone is lying on you. However, Mary is your friend. And Mary doesn't really care. Not saying she doesn't care for the other ladies, but she's not cool with them like she is with you. And Mary is like, I have a different recollection of what happened than what Meredith is saying. And the thing is, she's trying to be nice about it. Like she is trying to be so delicate and gentle with how she says that Meredith isn't telling the truth. And that's because she is her friend. And that's why I'm like, okay, I do believe this side of things over Meredith. Um, Whitney, on the other hand, is not nice about it. She's like, either she has anger issues, a substance abuse problem, or she's a liar. Something's up with Meredith, and we don't know what it is. And I think that's funny, but it's like true because it's like, girl, like you lying so blatantly in our faces that we have to wonder what's wrong. Because something's got to be wrong for you to be lying like that, girl. No, so it's just really weird, and she ultimately avoided any responsibility, but she said she's gonna talk to Brittany and apologize, or she doesn't know what she's gonna do, or whatever. I don't know if she said apologize, but basically she said she's gonna meet up with her. We find out that Bronwyn isn't a U.S. citizen. I thought that was really weird. She was born in Brazil. Um, That was interesting to me. I don't know why, but I don't know why would she be born in Brazil? Is Muzzy Brazilian? Like they didn't explain it, or I think maybe they did. I don't remember. Um, then we see Lisa and Mare at the nail shop. They kind of go to kind of rehash the lunch. Meredith's most surprised by Heather. I'm kind of like, girl, you guys are lying, and I just don't believe you. Maybe I'm bad. I don't know. Um, Lisa says she doesn't think that they're ever going to agree with what happened. I think the most disappointing part is that there's no footage. I have a very strong feeling that at the reunion, they're going to find footage of that argument or that yelling. Right now, I think everyone's holding it, but I feel like at the reunion, Andy is going to be like, let's roll the tape. Like Meredith's going to think she's so safe and everything's so sweet, and Andy gonna pull that video out on her. They probably got someone on that plane who has it, who has currently signed an NDA and is keeping quiet. And that person gonna pull up at the reunion, or that video gonna pull up at the reunion like Platal. And Meredith is either gonna have to eat her words, or she is going to tell those ladies what's up. One of the two. Because I feel like that's gonna happen. Um, What happened? So Heather gets rid of her bed that she shared with her husband. Like, girl, you was holding on to some weird shit. Like, don't get me wrong. I know you hold on to a bed for a long time, but like, all your kids are about to graduate college. How long have you had that mattress? I mean, I don't know. I thought you have a mattress 10 years, maybe it is still within the time. I feel like the way she talks about her relationship and her husband was like she was married like 20 years ago, or like after she had that second kid at 18, they were divorced. But I guess if she's just 18 now, then maybe they haven't been divorced as long as it feels or it seems. Um, you know, Whitney talks about how when she's with Heather helping her take out that bed, that she thinks that she's worried about Meredith because she's seen people, addicts, act like this when they're blacked out or different situations. So, I'm not listening to Whitney because low key, people have been saying this for a while that Meredith is using substances and drugs and whatever. Um, so she might be right. And Meredith doesn't want to admit anything because that would be almost like admitting that she has a problem, right? Like if you're going to admit that you blacked out, or you're going to admit that you were yelling like a lunatic, then it's like, okay, well, why? And then you got to admit some more things that she may not want to admit at this time. Who knows if we'll ever find out. Um, we see Brittany meets up with her daughter to go to therapy, basically talk about how she was a bad mom and that she, like, when she got remarried, she cared more about her stepchildren than her own children. And Brittany was like, "Oh, I don't deserve anything from my daughter. I was really horrible." And her daughter was like, "No, you were. You were." And I love when people do that because I have noticed, not just on Housewives, but in life, people will sometimes like know that they did something wrong and then try to like sound like, "Oh my God, I'm the worst person in the world," thinking that people are going to be like, "No, you're not that bad. It was just this one time." Her daughter was like, "No, you're as bad as you think you are." And I love that because don't let people try to guilt you into saying nice things about them. No, baby, we're not going to say nice things about you. We are going to let you know you are exactly who you think you are, maybe worse. So I do appreciate her daughter for doing that. Um, Bronwyn goes to pick a tree with her mom and her daughter. Gwen's ready to move out, but Bronwyn doesn't want her to leave. Bronwyn doesn't even want Muzzy to leave now. Like, she's just so used to having this family, and I think maybe because she was abandoned when she got pregnant, she kind of is trying to relive all of that. I don't know. But Bronwyn, she gotta, I mean, again, people have family issues. So I'm not gonna say like she gotta get over it, but it's like, baby, you're 38. You're 38. um Bron- uh, your daughter Gwen is grown. And I'm not saying that you can't have the issues, but you do gotta work through them because you're grown, your daughter's grown, and you don't want to put anything on her because she's dealing with what you're dealing with and you haven't been able to let go of. Um, Meredith meets up with Brittany at the park. She apologizes. Um, Brittany says she's accepting of the apology, but she's still traumatized by the whole situation. And to be honest, Brittany, you're dragging it. I'm not, well, maybe she's not dragging it because maybe we have to see how bad it was. But I just feel like I'm kind of over Brittany. So I feel like she's kind of trying to do stuff to like be recognized and remembered and get her little snowflake. So sometimes when she be talking, although I do think Meredith did what she said, what they said she did, I'm like, come on, Brittany, get her up out of here, get her out the paint. Um, but Brittany does apologize for bringing up the TikTok video, and they agree that they're going to move on as a collective. So then we get to the next episode, and Bronwyn picks up Todd from the. So this is now episode 12. Bronwyn picks up Todd from the airport in the costume. She tells him that she wants to have a Boston spill the tea party in order to celebrate her getting her citizenship. Um, She's still upset with Todd for the liking of women's photos or looking at women's photos, but she's like, marriages have issues and you just work through them and whatever. Honestly, I don't think she has any intention of leaving that man, so it's just drama for the show. Or maybe she does plan to leave him. I don't know if she has a prenup. We'll see. Or if Todd has a prenup. But who knows? Um Whitney meets with Justin, and she just kind of realized that she made a bad decision to like listen to him in that work thing with Wild Rose. And so now she's fighting to get Wild Rose back. And honestly, Whitney's work drama or business drama is so like meh to me because I feel like Whitney, you didn't have a good product to begin with, maybe. I mean, she said she was in talks with Sephora and like Target and Ulta and getting stuff there, maybe. But I feel like you just weren't business savvy. And so that's why you probably trusted Justin so much because this is what he has done. But I think Justin treated your business like it was your business, right? Like he did what he thought was best for somebody like you. And I think that's where the problem comes, right? He did his best, but he didn't do his best for what he thought the business deserved and needed. I think he did the best for what he thought was Whitney's level of business. That's what I'm thinking. And I think that's how they got messed up because Whitney was trying to do his level of business and he was trying to bring himself down to her level of business and the wires got crossed. Um, but now she's fighting to get the company back. Um, Heather's daughter is final last daughter is going to college, going to University of Tampa. So Heather throws like a little bed party where she just decorates the room. I'm excited for Heather. Her daughters are grown up. She feels free. She's ready for them to leave the coop. So, shout out to her for getting an empty house. She's like a little like Giselle. So maybe she'll start dating. Maybe she'll start considering herself. And who knows? We'll see what happens with Heather with that. Um, Bronwyn decides to send LGBTQ flags, pride flags, to every store owner that wants one because I guess Utah passed a law that no government buildings could have pride flags. So she kind of was like, "Oh, I want to to kind of fight that, I want to send flags to every place that can put them up and wants them." So I think that's kind of like a little cool gesture that Bronwyn is doing. She calls her mom over to help her out with it, which she says, like, Mom, I know this isn't your thing. These aren't your politics, but I'm glad you'll like help out with me. Um, I think it's kind of cool that Bronwyn would do something like that because, again, in a place that banned it, that's a pretty big, bold move. And to let people know, like, I'm the person putting like forth this effort to make sure that what you guys banned, I'm trying to, show off. And so I think that's really cool. Um, Now we get to Brownman's party. Everyone's showing up dressed like Hamilton or whatever, what have you. Um, Angie was the first to show up, and like she rented out, I think it's like a storage or something, but in Bronwyn nature, it's really over the top. Like the outside doesn't look great. It's kind of like when the Grand Dame had her like vow renewal. It was in a place that didn't look great on the outside, but the inside was really magical. That's exactly what happened here. Bronwyn, the outside looked a little, but on the inside, somebody put in work and it was good. It looked like they you went back in time and they set up a place and they had like food and vendors, and it was really cool. So everybody comes over and she explains the concept of the founding fathers and how she wants to spill the tea, and then everybody come together and like come up with a new way to operate as a friend group. Great idea, right? Wrong. But anyways, so she's basically like, if you spilled tea about someone or talked about someone, write it on this box, and then we throw it out. We talk about it and we throw it out. We're not gonna harp on it. So, you know, Heather was like, we did this before, and it didn't really work out because they did it in, I think, Mexico, or I can't remember, Cozumel or wherever they went last season. And she was like, this concept has been done, and they didn't like it. And I mean, I feel like, again, this is Housewives. These are the things they have to do to keep the show going. But honestly, I do also feel like so many things get crossed in someone told someone what someone said, not you didn't hear it directly from the person. And there's a lot of confusion when people is guessing what was said rather than hearing from the source. So, you know, what's it called? Angie comes and says that she spilled tea about Lisa saying she bought a horse when she heard that Lisa rented the horse. And Lisa's like, oh my God, I bought a horse and I'm probably going to buy another one. There is a way that Lisa speaks when she's lying, and it's just like that. She starts talking really fast. She starts getting super offended. She starts huffing and puffing. And you're like, oh, she's lying. Because when she's calm and she doesn't care, it's because she's telling the truth. But when she's lying, she kind of gets a little, I can't believe, oh my God. She crosses her legs, moves her hair out of her face. It's very much, you're lying. But, you just kind of have to watch now. 6 seasons in, I think I kind of know Lisa's tells when she's lying. But, it's okay. It's okay. It's just a horse. And Angie said it. She goes, when Lisa buys something, everybody knows. It's a spectacle. She posted everywhere. You bought a horse and you're gonna buy a second one and no one's seen it. You've just said it by word of mouth. Like they're like, that's not how she operates. But she threw it in the water. Then Brittany tells them that she hasn't spilled tea about anybody, but she wants to know who spilled about tea, this tea about her flirting with Jowl on the boat. The ladies don't even want to talk about this because they're like, who spilled to Jared? And they're like, Jared again? Girl, can we dead Jared? Like, this whole relationship, it does not need to happen. But Whitney was like, it wasn't spilling tea. I was just excited that it seemed like you were over Jared. So I called Justin to basically tell him what was going on. No tea was really spilled, but everybody's like, okay, let's move on. And they're so dismissive of her. And it's kind of funny because that's how you should treat someone sometimes. Like, I'm not saying it's nice to bully and ice people out, but low key, sometimes when people are foolish, you got to treat them like they're foolish. You can't give the foolish people space. You got to treat them like the fool that they are. And that's how I see it. Um, Heather then says that she spilled tea about Todd and his farting while making out with someone. Bronwyn straightened up like, that's not funny. I'm not talking about it. Blah 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 blah. And Heather's like, oh, okay, we throw it in the water. And it's funny because it's not tea because like it happened or maybe it didn't happen. But like I would I would end it. Like, I don't know how to move forward if someone came to me and was like, oh yeah, I caught your man cheating. And not only was he cheating, he was farting up a storm. That's not my man. That's not my man. That's not my man. That's so embarrassing. Oh my God. Like, I would never want that story repeated. I would never want that story repeated. That story would end me. Like, oh, I would have to leave you off the strength that not only were you cheating, you was passing gas and people know and people was talking about it. Like, because I'm like imagining, and this is so stupid, but it's like I'm imagining like every kiss there's a little toot, and it's just Bronwyn gotta leave him. But they throw it in the box. Then Bronwyn apologizes for spilling the tea about what Whitney said about Meredith to Meredith. What Whitney said about Meredith to Meredith. And Whitney was like, oh my God, you broke my confidence. Like, I told you something in private and you took it and shared it. And Bronwyn was like, if you didn't want her to know, you should have never told me. And like, yes, but also no, Bronwyn. But also no. Like, yes, of course, if you don't want anybody to know, you know what they say. If two can keep a secret, if one of them is dead, because at the end of the day, once you tell somebody something, it's always a chance that it can get out. But like, girl, if that's your friend or you're saying that's your friend, if I tell you something, you should be able to shut your mouth and keep it to yourself. And that's the problem. Bronwyn doesn't know how to keep stuff to herself because she a little spooky. So she like a little key. So she wants to have that moment where she gossips. It's who she is. And if people haven't realized that by now, I mean, she specifically said she spoke to Brittany, heard her say what she had to say, and ran with what Brittany said and told the next person. Bronwyn likes to key. She likes to key. So if you don't want the person to know, don't tell Bronwyn. But anyways, her and Whitney kind of get into it a little bit. I mean, granted, she was apologizing this little spill the tea thing, but it was like, girl, you should have kept your friend's secret, or you claim it's your friend. And so then Whitney goes and calls Meredith an alcoholic and a pill popper, basically to her face. And Meredith's like, well, wonderful. I have a gift for you all. She goes, she pulls these little baggies out, she hands them all out, and it's drug tests. She's like, I'm happy to take one, but will y'all take one? Will you guys take one? And it's like, girl, stop the show because you brought drug tests saying that you guys should all take them because you knew that these women would say it was ridiculous. So now you don't have to take it. You knew that. You knew that. You knew that. So you knew you weren't ever going to have to show that you took it. She's like, besides alcohol and an occasional gummy. Meredith, do you think we're dumb? Do you think we're, I mean, she hopes, obviously. But like, girl, you knew nobody was going to take that drug test. And now you're trying to act like, oh, they're hiding something. No, girl, it's still you. It's still you hiding something. And we know that. And like, she's getting angry. And Whitney is like, okay, but I've seen your behavior. I've seen it before. I've seen it with other addicts, my family. And Lisa's like, this isn't fair. She's weaponizing her experience. But it's like, kind of, yeah. Like if I've seen a pattern that I've seen in my substance addicted father or whatever in you, I'm likely going to believe you're addicted to a substance. I don't know, just seems like the natural order of things. So I don't blame Whitney, but I do think that Whitney is like a little shady because like, Whitney likes to be a little shady. She's throwing probably a little dubs on it, but I do think Meredith probably, drinking. And so she's, once again denying the story because we're back on that Britney story and the yelling and whatever. And again, Mary is like, her remembrance of events is not the chain of events I remember. Meredith, I need you to just be honest. Just say, hey, I don't remember. I was sleepy. I was sleepy. Sometimes when I'm sleepy, I don't remember what I said or did. Like, I was sleepy. I don't remember. I got up, I heard something, I was pissed. I probably went off and then I went back to sleep. Or I don't remember. Or I drank. I drank on the plane. Whatever. But she do not want to take it. But Lisa is still trying to cover for her. Heather feels like she's being gaslit by Meredith because she's like, you're trying to act like I didn't see or hear what I saw and heard. And so she's kind of getting really, really upset about it because she feels like her, and I kind of get it in her perspective because she's saying, like, this is what I went through with the church. Like, they were trying to make me feel crazy about what I said I experienced. Like, that didn't happen. So she's saying that's the kind of the same feeling she's getting from this whole situation, that someone's trying to gaslight her into believing she didn't see what she didn't see. So I see why it's maybe so triggering for Heather, but I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe Meredith's just a liar. Let's move on, y'all. But they do not want to like give it up. But Meredith also doesn't want to apologize. She is like flat out refusing that she did anything. So it's like they're kind of at an impasse and they got to let it go. So Bronwyn moves on and she's basically like, let's make amendments of how we want to move forward in this. Everyone make their own and whoop, whoop, whoop. So they go and they all give their amendments of what's off limits. And a lot of them say family, children, businesses. Heather says, I forgot what Heather said, but ultimately Meredith is like reactive abuse, and everyone's really confused. Look, she says, stop the reactive abuse. That's what she says. Stop the reactive abuse. And no one even knows what she's talking about. So they're like, oh, okay. And basically, when Whitney reads the definition, I should have gotten it and remembered it. But, and if I can insert it, I'll insert it here. But basically, Whitney reads the description and it describes like exactly what Meredith is doing. So how could you say you want to make that amendment when it's what you do? Girl, bye. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much how the episode ends. I don't really like how Meredith is like denying it so hard. I don't know. Again, maybe because it's Britney, I'm a little like not too carry about, like I don't care too much. But like it's weird. It is weird that every single person has a different recollection of what happened except for you and Lisa. I don't know. It's weird. These last two episodes actually to me are weird. I don't like when people drag stuff. So maybe that's where I have a problem. Like, because even we know Meredith isn't going to admit it. So Whitney, you dragging it is just kind of like, girl, stop dragging it because she's not going to admit it. So what are we doing? Like now, if they dragging it and they got that clip for the reunion, I'm ready. I'm ready. But if you just dragging it to drag it, then I'm out. But yeah, let me know how you guys felt about the last two episodes. How are you feeling about the season? Andy has called for questions for the reunion. I'm really excited to see how that goes. Um, because I feel like a lot of people do have stuff to answer for, and I guess we will see. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.